Welcome to Rebel Chaser. My name is Gail, and I've got a video for you from Judge Harger in Texas. This is for an emergency TRO, an emergency temporary restraining order. And at the very beginning of this, they are discussing the fact that the mom, in this case, the wife or ex-wife, has requested that the judge on the case, who is Judge Lytle, be recused. So that's what they're talking about. It has nothing to do with really the emergency TRO, but I thought you guys might want to know what they are discussing at the very beginning. So with that, I'll just let you guys watch.
Failed to notify Judge Lytle's office. And so they did that yesterday. She immediately, as I understand it, and this is coming filtered through Jacob, through administration, because they're the ones that have me appointed or assigned for today. They indicated that that their office was forwarding her letter, or I'll call it a letter, her notice that she was going to decline to recuse herself. She didn't feel like obviously that she had done anything wrong, so she was sending that kind of a notice. They were expecting to send that to Judge Waldrop, who's our regional presiding judge, at some point this morning. Now, whether or not that has occurred or not occurred, or whether he's assigned somebody or done anything, I don't have a clue. As far as that goes, that's, as they usually say, beyond my pay grade. At this point, it just hadn't come through, and he may be in trial and down in his court and not even look at it until the noon hour or after hours or something today. So I would anticipate that there will be a hearing set with regard to that. Now, in looking at the motion, and since that time, Judge Temple, I believe it was, heard some stuff in the case, and there have been some other matters in the cases moving forward. It's just right now it recuses Judge Lytle in the docket system from being able to interject or be in the case. So I don't have a problem. I don't believe there's an issue with regard to me or Judge Temple the other day or whatever hearing this. I think it is personal as to Judge Lytle. It doesn't have now. If we were in a different docketing format, like maybe Williamson County, and it blocks the court, that kind of a different deal, sort of. I still think another judge could step in on a docket sharing and take care of an emergency matter if it needed. Okay. All that said, I just wanted to make everybody aware that that was the sequence of events. It wasn't that Judge Lytle ignored the thing for 40 some odd days. She didn't find out until yesterday and stuff. And we're laying the blame at this point on the clerk's office, because it does appear to have been appropriately filed and marked, and their obligation is to immediately notify. And there's a 3-day notice period to go to the presiding judge, but it's 3 days from when she becomes aware of it. So I think she's complied with that aspect. At least it sounds like it. Anyway, that said, I'm trying, the issue I've got, Mr. Hennon, on this one is that looking at his affidavit, he talks about interference with Luca's mental health care. And I remember her response saying, yeah, it's contrary to what there's all this stuff. But I did read through the response with it. But anyway, I'm kind of like the prior case. I don't know how this interference becomes an emergency for a TRO purposes, as opposed to just setting this for hearing in a week, 2 weeks, something like that. So fill me in on that aspect of it from your perspective.
Yes, certainly, Judge. I mean, one thing that I should point out initially, Ms. Diane Arnett, who I'm sure the court is familiar with, has been seeing and treating Luca for, a couple of months, maybe more at this point. Ms. Arnett is not here right now. I don't know that we would be able to have her offer any testimony, I understand, but she's not here right now, and you don't have an affidavit giving much more detail directly from the source, purely because Ms. Kucherova, becoming aware of these concerns and this effort, revoked her consent. And that's a court-ordered consent. My client had to fight for that consent for therapy to take place for Luca and for Ms. Kucherova to sign that consent and release over multiple hearings and quite some time in the prior case. She's revoked it now in violation of the order and has blinded you from getting that information today directly from Ms. Arnett, even if in affidavit form. Ms. Arnett was cooperating with us to execute an affidavit that would have given the court much more information, again, from a direct source. You don't have it because Ms. Kucherova, in the meantime, revoked that consent, and Ms. Arnett believes she can no longer communicate with us until that's reconciled. So Ms. Kucherova has caused the court to lack that information by her actions today. Judge, I kind of don't know where to start. This case, as I mentioned already, Ms. Kucherova is, in my opinion, I'm not saying there's been a finding, I believe she's a vexatious litigant. We're here on an emergency order. I believe she's a vexatious litigant. She's filed many, many things, as I've already indicated.
Mr. Hennon, let's backtrack just a little bit so we can kind of more narrowly the focus. If we were arguing the merits of this at this point, sure, I want to hear what you're about to tell me. But what I really, right now, I'm kind of like we were in that prior case, is what you understand the standard for TRO, and it's the irreparable harm if it's something that, and so we're within a let's say 2-week period. What is the irreparable harm if Luca doesn't see Arnett over 2 weeks? I mean, obviously, I can't order without an evidentiary hearing. Nobody's going to be able to order to give you the relief that you want to get him back in and get Ms. Arnett to be able to be cooperative. So I'm trying to figure out how your request for unsupervised access or supervised access, is solves where your problem is with Ms. Arnett. It sounds to me like it is a bit of a, for lack of a better term, sanction. You've been misbehaving badly because you've been interfering, so we're just not going to let you see the kid. What is the harm now versus having a hearing next week or the week after? Where's that balance? Is what I'm trying to get at. I need to get past that threshold.
I understand, Your Honor. This is not a case where, and I understand from the information the court has, this is not a case where it's just, parent A is interfering with therapy and we're worried it's not going to be good for kiddo. That is not this case. Ms. Kucherova, if Ms. Arnett were able to give information, I believe what the court would be hearing is that she is seeing very concerning signs of, I'm going to go with alienating behaviors, statements being made to this child about his father, about this litigation. She is seeing severe, serious decline in this child's mental and emotional state. This is not, we've got to make sure Luca goes to therapy for the next 2 weeks. This is, we have to remove this child from his mother so that she does not literally psychologically poison him for the next 2 weeks. It's
in her answer, she, in some of the ramblings that I saw in there, it says she gets possession 4 days a month. He gets 26. What's her schedule entitled? What's she entitled to right now?
So she has possession as we speak. This is, I believe, a third weekend. She has first, third, and fifth weekends, Your Honor. It's semi-expanded. She picks up from school when it releases. She returns evening before school resumes. So Friday afternoon to Sunday at 6. And
this is a holiday weekend. Does it have the automatic extension?
It will have the benefit of the extension, as I recall, at least. I believe that's correct, Your Honor. She also has a non-expanded Thursday weekly period of possession. So school out until, I believe, 7 p.m. or so is my recollection. She also, little confusing, on second and fourth weeks, she gets an additional Tuesday evening of possession similar to her Thursday. So it's not fully expanded. She gets a little extra during the week on off weeks, and she will have the holiday the benefit of the holiday this weekend.
Have you gotten scheduled a hearing?
We have not. No, Judge.
For your temporary orders, I mean?
No, we wanted to. I don't believe we were going to be able to do that necessarily before we made this effort. Obviously, we'd be looking to set a temp hearing and injunction, within the next couple of weeks, regardless of what the outcome is today. And by that time, we will have, of course, Miss Arnett under subpoena to testify. And I suppose if nothing else, she can probably be ordered and then able to turn over the information that's also going to be helpful. But this is, I wouldn't come to court, Judge, and ask for a TRO and supervision if it was just a kiddo missing therapy or a parent saying a few bad things. Ms. Kachereva has been completely unhinged and escalating since trial. Posting depictions of this, talking to the child, him weeping, things like that online against court orders about not doing that. She has been making statements to him, quite obviously. He's been parroting those in therapy.
Do you have a motion to enforce also pending?
We do have an enforcement pending, Your Honor. Ms. Kachereva also has an enforcement. It's legally, I would say, in nature, a lot of it is not an enforcement, but it is an enforcement by name. We have coordinated. She's asked for dates. I've given them to her. We intend to pursue our enforcement at that same time. It does deal with much of what I'm saying from an enforcement perspective. But my client is, we had to get a writ since trial just to get possession of the child. Judge Mozzie heard that. Well, we had to apply for a writ. And Judge Mozzie heard that hearing. But my client is terrified about what his son is going to be exposed to if Ms. Kachereva even returns him after the holiday, which she already has a habit of not doing post-trial when she decides that Mr. Garrett is being too protective.
Okay. And in my recollection, Judge Mozzie's order was she could return the child by a time certain. If not, then she'd issue the writ. That's what it was. And now, assuming that there wasn't a writ issue, that my assumption is she did return the child by the time certain.
I don't know if it was on time. It was close. She did eventually do it. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like she blatantly refused to do. Okay. I'm looking at Judge Temple's notes real quick. Are you still waiting on an order for that, or have you done the order?
Judge, we've drafted the order. I'm going to be very transparent. I'm not even sure. I think we have an entry hearing on May 2. We may have sent it to Ms. Kachereva has limited scope counsel, Ms. Shara Dixon from Mr. Evans' office for that.
I noticed she hadn't even filed an appearance, even as a limited scope.
They didn't initially. I thought she later did file a notice.
I couldn't find it. I couldn't find it today, but that's fine. So you're saying 2 weeks from today, you've got a entry hearing?
I believe it's May 2. So approximately, Your Honor. Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's 2 weeks from today. May 2nd is. If I were to give you an order, I would probably set if we didn't already have an order set, that would be what I would set is 2 weeks from today.
That's perfect.
So we could companion those and lock those together. And I guess the other question I've got in light of this, how are you? I mean, you're asking for her to not have unsupervised visits. So are we proposing we're going to like kid safe or something like that? Or are you just saying just don't have them at all? Or what's your thought? I'm assuming Mr. Garrett doesn't want to be the supervisor. So yeah, not looking at all the papers. Yeah,
that would not be good for anyone, especially the child. And that's no fault to Mr. Garrett. That's just not the dynamic we have in this case. I think so long as we have a third-party professional kids exchange network type of resource available, we're not going to be difficult on that. If there is a credible supervisor that can step in and offer kiddos some time with mom between now and then under appropriate supervision, they do need to be able to hear what she is saying to him. we're fine with that. That may be best for the child to not have to wait to see mom. He loves his mom. But it would not be a neighbor or family friend or family member, but we would and can propose Kids Exchange or some other similar network or professionals.
Okay. All right. I tell you what, Mr. Henning, get me an order that grants it to the limited thing about unsupervised plug-in Kids Exchange. You can be as verbose as you want to be in that point as far as trying to explain so she understands. We need to set a schedule that's workable. And I would propose, if she's already got Tuesday, Thursday, I would just propose Tuesdays and Thursday. Yeah, and the child is, I'm sorry, I don't recall off the top of my head. How old's the child? Is not very old, is he?
Luca's 9 years old, Judge.
Okay, so he's got school commitments. So
Yes,
we need to try to do it either after school. And I guess you better put a safety net that if they don't have supervision available on the Tuesday and Thursday, that will accommodate a 1 hour visit on the weekend, something like that. Through Kids Exchange, or is otherwise available by Kids Exchange that doesn't interfere with the kid's school, something like that. But no visit beyond 1 hour, and we can suspend all other access up and until it can be heard on May 2nd. And then I guess put it in your order that we are going to set it to be heard at the same time as the other one. And then you need to, if you're going to need to amend your time announcement for that, you'll need to get a hold of Jacob's office or whomever and let them know this isn't a 15-minute motion to enter.
Understood,
Yes,
Your
sir,
Honor.
Mr. Garrett.
Hello, Your Honor. Her native tongue is Czech, and that's how she communicates with Luca. And is it possible to put something in there that she has to communicate? She's fluent in English, but that's a way to maybe bypass.
So is Luca, I take it, fluent in Czech as well?
Yes, sir. That's how they communicate around.
Yeah, if you're going to have it supervised, then I'll go ahead and put that in, Mr. Hennon. I think that's viable. I was telling the staff before this started, Czech was my college language, and for 2 years, and my instructor was Vlasta Kopečkova. And she gave me an A, but I didn't deserve it. And
You read it Chesky?
And I can, very little. Like Mamrad something, I like this or I like that. Or I was telling him I can't tell you how to tie your shoes in Czech anymore, and that kind of thing. But again, you got to understand, Mr. Garrett, that was almost 50 years ago. So, and there's not a lot of at the time, Czech was the third most spoken language in Texas. It is now dropped from that status because of some of the Southeast Asian dialects, as far as the Vietnamese and Thai and some of that have overtaken it. But yeah, I've been to SPJST hall meetings and I've done the whole deal, and they speak way too fast. But it's one of those things. But yeah, I do. I can speak a little, and then I also took a little bit of Russian. So at the time, and that really they kind of cross and get weird.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I will not try to be your interpreter.
Okay.
But yeah, you can put that in, Mr. Hennon, about all discussions with the child will be supervised and they will be in English. If she refuses to speak English, the visit terminates.
Understood, Judge. Thank you.
All right, and we'll set you for May 2nd. Then it'll be up to you to let Jacob know. Put it in the order that it is going to be companioned with that, and that it's going to be heard at the same time as your other motion. Now, do you have it's a motion to enter? You going to have Judge Temple back for that?
It's my understanding is it's set in front of him, Your Honor.
Okay, all right. And now, is he the new associate judge, or isn't that right?
Correct, Judge.
Okay, I've not met him. I mean, it's a brand new name to me, but I was under the impression that's who he was. Okay. All right. Well, good luck with that. You send me an order in. Just send it to submission at 261st submission, and Raquel will get it to me.
Great. Thank you, Your Honor, so much.
All right, take care.
Thank you, Your
Thanks,
Honor.
sir.
Okay, so the mom has withdrawn her court-ordered consent for the therapist. So now the therapist feels as though she can't disseminate or give out her reports to anyone without that consent. Now she's going to need a court order directing her to do that. And then she'll be able to. So a judge is going to have to say, I order this counselor to give dad the report, or to give the guardian ad litem the report, if there is one. And she's requesting that the judge be recused. And my thinking on that is because she isn't able to manipulate the judge into being on her side. And she also, when she's with her son, she speaks in Chechen so that nobody can understand what they're saying. She could be saying whatever she wants to with other people around in supervision, and no one will ever know what she's saying. So she's a little sneaky, conniving mom, in my opinion. Anyway, I'm going to see if I can, find more hearings on this. They delete them as soon as possible, but I will see what I can gather over the next hearing. I'll be looking for it. I don't know if I'll get anything, because if it's in person, they probably won't show them, but I'll see what I can get coming up. And it's Good Friday, so I just want to wish you guys a wonderful, happy Easter. He has risen. He is risen indeed. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time.